Hey, how's it going? Today's 3rd of January, and we're taking a look at what opportunities are there within the market. Uh, let's just set up, right? I will begin by taking a look at UK's overall strategy when we are entering 2030. So that's within the next 6 years, right? Let's start with that and progress into financial opportunities available. There was a press release. I would briefly will touch on it. So I won't gonna go too much into detail since it was this press release was completed 4 years ago, right? And for people just finding their own things, right? And not necessarily reading those press releases, but something that was done 4 years ago, right? And that was government takes historical step towards net zero with end of sale of new petrol and diesel cars by 2030. So ideally, they won't be able to sell different kind of cars from that point, right? So that's something, and some of the actions have been taken by the government. And I can touch on perhaps some of the bullet points. Just, I think, if you would ask me, so this is what's happening, right? The government made the announcement that they won't be selling those cars anymore, right? So I'll take a look at perhaps Bristol College, right? And I would take a look at what people, young adults, what kind of training they have receiving, right? Let's touch on that within my business based in Bristol, right? Perhaps I can help. I'll come in and perhaps reach out to a team in Bristol College if they would be interested in perhaps training people and perhaps giving necessary qualifications in beginning developing their skills when it comes to different type of vehicles, since all type of vehicles would be obsolete within the next 6 years, right? So it's just for argument's sake, right? Let's briefly touch on this article and we progress into financial opportunities and perhaps Bristol College, right? The bullet points within this article that I won't gonna delve too much detail in. That really plans to accelerate the greener transport future throughout two-step phase out of petrol and diesel cars. News comes over a 1.8 billion investment in infrastructure and grants to increase access to net zero vehicles and promote green economic recovery. So the finances 1.8 billion, right? That's finances there. But it was 4 years ago, right? And they might open a new funds recently. I'll touch on that. New phase out date central to UK's economic growth and level up agenda as government commits nearly 500 million of funding to support 169 jobs, right? Helping industry transition towards net zero emission vehicles and maintain UK leading position in global automotive market. Myself coming into this might be taking a look at skills and expertise, so I can touch on as I go along later this week, and I can touch on qualification providers, right? So maybe I can support some of the industry and everything what's happening by making sure that qualification providers everyone knows about the site. Perhaps everyone knows, but I don't know what's happening, right? So, but either way, electric vehicle infrastructure grant for staff and fleet, right? Yeah, so that would be more from industry perspective, and if you're a business owner, perhaps you can receive financial incentives when it comes to perhaps establishing that infrastructure. So when your people come into work, I guess from our instead, right? We can charge staff, right? So they can charge their vehicles at parking, I guess, and the fleet. So that would be perhaps is something that they're doing for commercial purposes, right? So tag. People who are using cars are not delivering parcels, perhaps, right? So that would be the grant covers 75% of the cost of the work up to a maximum of £15,000 you can get, up to 350 per charge point socket installed, and up to 500 per parking space enabling with supporting infrastructure, right? And so that would be you can receive of up to 5 grants across 5 different sites, right? Okay, great. So there's opportunities there. Perhaps you can. I think it costs electricity, right? So you can charge your staff, right, as well. So you can make money potentially. If we're coming from a business perspective, you can potentially, additionally, you can generate money on top of that if it's something you're self interested in, right? I don't know if you would charge your or staff for using making a cup of tea, but you can potentially charge or make money from your staff charging, having your charging point set up, right? Next point, right, would be electric vehicle charge point grants for renters and fleet owners. So renters, right? So if you not necessarily you are more of the landlord and you have a lot of people within premises, right? And those people are planning of operating those vehicles. Again, that is similar structure when we're taking a look at financial incentives available. That way, 75% of the cost by selling sockets of up to maximum 350. Again, if you are self-interested, there might be some financial incentives, right? Then you can potentially, can you ask people to pay for that, for electricity and everything what's happening with UK prices for electricity being very expensive? Or perhaps you can. I don't know. I don't know if it says anything within the documents. I would scroll through it, right? What I'm saying, opportunities up there. Finances are being made available, right? So you potentially take part in this. Okay, so it's a different application if you are a landlord. I think there's more of the thing that I have seen within the US, right? Not necessarily as we speak within UK, at least that I know of, right? There was some people who were overcharging people, right, for how much you can ask people to pay for that charging point, right? But there's potentially when it comes to building infrastructure, there might be some incentives or potential ways how you can engage, right, or how giving people access to charging their vehicles. Myself, I haven't taken part in any of that. I haven't signed any documents. I haven't read anything in the detail, right? I briefly haven't taken a look. What I'm saying is there was, if you're looking to better understand what would be reasons why not to do it, right? There are some documentaries there why not to do it. Why would people get involved in some of those opportunities? Perhaps there's some financial incentives, right? If you look and take a look at the risk involved, there, what I'm saying, there are some documentaries. If you're looking to see if it's something that you want to get yourself involved in some of those processes, right? That's what I'm saying. There is even a grant available when it comes to perhaps purchasing a taxi. I don't know what's definition for taxi, right? Perhaps if a person is delivering food, would that be taxi? Just for arguments, I don't know. What I'm saying is, without promoting any of those projects, right? If that person who delivering fast food, would he be able to perhaps receive financial incentives in purchasing, perhaps, or acquiring electric vehicle and then it's plug in? Would that be considered taxi, or how it would be powered? Since if this fund is set up to reduce carbon emissions, right? If that's the reason for this fund. So if that person would be able to receive some of the funds, where would you draw a line, right? If you would ask me, I don't know, there's admins of the administration staff, right, who is overseeing some of those funds and how these funds being allocated. I have seen a number of those people who definitely could use a new vehicle when it comes to workhorse, right, and or performing work, right? So that's what I'm saying, right? And what I'm saying is, if when it comes to building interest within some of those competitions, just do your own research, right, before entering any of those agreements, and what will be required for people to enter, and or trying to understand, since they might give you a list of what kind of cars you can acquire, right? So there might be 20 different manufacturers, and it might be how old the car needs to be, and the car might be overpriced. If the car might be overpriced, I might try to get into this market and get some of that sweet money, right? If you need to pay 50,000 for a car, might as well start building it myself. That's what I'm saying. Well, so there's the financial incentives there. Whoever is interested in purchasing car, and perhaps some of the taxes. I don't know how they structure those, right? Where the people can acquire that. Yourself, if you're interested in learning more, I have published a journal. Within the journal, the way how I structure it, so it will be enough time for people to begin and establish a habit, right? So normally it would be 70 days. I have structure, so it would be 90 days as well as that's potentially how you can structure your finances when it comes to quarters, right? So that will potentially be 1 quarter when it comes to your finances and how you're allocating those finances with that more of the long-term strategy, right? So I don't want to overwhelm a lot of people, right? So it would potentially, if you haven't done anything, perhaps just sticking to your short, small routines, that would be great. If it's something you yourself interested in, it's very great too. Where 24 hours and what would be required of many people to do within 24 hours. If you can do it, we can progress and make it more difficult. You can find that QR code in the corner company's website below. Just a quick note: there might be some openings there where the way how they structure it, so it would be independent training facilities, right? So myself or any business might be able to slide in, right, and perhaps begin training people if it's something that people might be interested in learning about electric vehicles, right? That's how I understood it, right? Have a chat in team, perhaps, I don't know, perhaps it's already been taken, but if not, let's come back and try to understand how, as we speak, currently people have been trained. I don't think they're currently training. In a number of what I was able to find, right? I think they're training about something like body and paint workshop as well as fabrications and welding, heavy vehicle workshops and light vehicle workshops, right? It's something that's currently been trained. I don't know if it's been trained on one thing on electric vehicles, right? Since some of those vehicles might go obsolete within the next 6 years, according to current UK strategy. That's something that was set up is 4 years ago. So there might be another facilities available where another business can slide in. I guess that's more. I don't know. I'm trying to make some fun and poking. It's a little bit of fun, right? I'm saying there might be some opportunities if I can generate more interest for new opportunities for new businesses. We can go out there and compete with the big boys, perhaps. See how it goes, right? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one.